Hi, my name is Stephanie Vandehey, and I will be reviewing the book, Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive. It was written by Noah J. Goldstein, Steve J. Martin, and Robert B. Cialdini. The first author is Noah Goldstein. He is currently an associate professor of management and organizations at UCLA Anderson. He holds joint positions in the psychology department at UCLA and at the David Geffen School of Medicine. He has a PhD in social psychology, a Master's of Arts in social psychology, and a bachelor's in the science of human development. His primary line of research involves the study of factors that lead people to change their behaviors in a variety of contexts, including management, marketing, and health. Goldstein focuses his teachings on the psychology of persuasion and utilizes his research to advise corporation and government organizations to promote change. The second author is Steve Martin. Steve is a TV personality for BBC and BBC Radio and MSNBC. He's also a writer for the New York Times and Wired magazine. He's a guest lecturer at the London Business School and the University of Cambridge. He currently has a column in British Airways magazine entitled Persuasion and regularly writes for the Harvard Business Review. Martin devotes his time to consulting and leading workshops on the science of influence and persuasion and its application to a wide variety of business, government, and nonprofit organizations around the world. The third author is Robert Cialdini. Robert received his PhD from the University of North Carolina and performed his postdoctoral training at the Columbia University. He is currently the CEO and president of a company called Influence at Work, which is an organization that focuses on ethical training, corporate keynote programs, and the Cialdini Method Certified Training Program, or CMCT. Robert's clients include such organizations as Google, Microsoft, and Coca-Cola, and he spent his entire career researching the science of influence, earning him an international reputation as an expert in the fields of persuasion, compliance, and negotiation. Purpose and audience. The book, Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive, emphasizes that persuasion is a science, not an art. It teaches readers to create small manipulations which lead to large ripples of influence in your pool of your organization, such as how asking people for help makes them more open to larger favors down the road, and how writing things down improves commitment. It backs these ideas through research findings in behavioral psychology, social science, and related areas, and elaborates on how one can utilize these findings and be more persuasive in one's personal and professional life. In the introduction of the book, the author makes a point to state that this book was written for everyone. This book, he believes, is applicable to salespeople, marketers, negotiators, educators, and any Joe Schmo. It leads with the theory that with a little additional effort, anyone can be a motivator or persuasive artist. Strengths of the book. So the strengths are that the book is really an easy read. Each chapter is maybe 3 to 4 pages, and it clearly states the objective, the research, the results, and how each proven way can be utilized. It does a phenomenal job of providing research to justify each persuasive technique. It's also kind of funny. The book has quite a few real-life scenarios that you can easily relate to and humorous quips that kind of make you want to keep reading. The book really dives into what makes each one of us tick. I personally believe that it takes a magnifying glass to human nature and explores our reasons for daily decision-making, and then takes it a step further and really impresses how leaders and managers can engage and empower their employees. For example, the book talks about the differences in cultures, such as how Americans and Western European cultures are really focused on products and ideas that are individualistic, whereas Eastern European and Asian cultures are more focused on the ideals and values that surround the community and family. This really could be a great reminder when you're dealing with cultures in your nursing career to look at what the value is and what drives that individual to succeed. Weaknesses. So the weaknesses of this book are also one of the strengths, that it's really easy. It's kind of a surface level book. I feel like it touches a lot on areas for application, but it's almost too short and sweet. It should have gone a little bit deeper into understanding the motivation and how to empower an individual to go against their innate behavior. The book also seemed more geared toward the ideal of human behavioralism and less into leadership and how to effectively empower employees to understand and assimilate to organizational goals. There was a lot of anecdotal portions to the book, which made it very relatable, but at the same time, I think it might have taken away from the message and the validity of the research that they found. For example, one chapter was devoted on showing how similarities raise response rates. So it went on for 4 pages talking about the TV show The Office, and it also provided examples of how people named Dennis are more likely to be dentists, and how people who are roofers for their job, 70% of them have a first name that starts with R. Although it was supported by research, I felt like it was more of a funny human behavior pattern than an example of how to be persuasive. I don't honestly feel that if I'm going to make a project at work and I wanted a specific person to take on that job, I would name the project based on their first name. Or would I? Objectives. So I honestly believe that the author did a great job of achieving the objectives that they set out for themselves at the preface of the book. First, they sought out to focus on persuading others in everyday challenges. They provide examples of how you could get a quicker response from your own children based on not providing as many options at bedtime. Or remembering that accepting imperfection and fault from the start will establish more trust in relationships. They utilize research from both a social psychology and behavioralism point of view to prove validity for each of their persuasive techniques, such as measuring response rates of face-to-face communication versus email communication. Email communication in their study received a 6% response rate, whereas face-to-face communication received a 29% response rate. Although some of the techniques and ideas do seem a little silly, there was a lot of truth behind their theories and their focus on human behavior and how to influence people. Recommendations. I honestly really enjoyed reading this book. As I kind of went over in the strengths, it was really easy and fun to read. I think that it was really applicable to most daily life situations that I've come across. I think it'll be a little more complicated to apply it to a nursing leader role. However, there were a few situations where I feel like I could have changed the way I communicated during work in order to be more persuasive. I also feel that the book had this underlying message of managers being able to create an environment in which employees could be more accepting to change and also empowered to be a part of it. I think for who I would recommend this book to, I would say nursing leaders who are going to have a great deal of change coming to them in the future. I think that this book really could help them come into some of these techniques that would help their staff understand change and be more amenable to it. And that's all. If you have any questions, feel free to post, and thank you for your time.